Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special episode of Mining for Mayhem. I'm here with my good friend Marie Shadows. We are here today to talk about Wrestle Kingdom 17. Marie, how are you?
I'm good, man. It's been a very, very long time. It's happy to see your face and hear your voice.
It has. Actually, I think the first time we spoke, because I was saying it's been a while since we've done this, but I'm starting to think the first time we actually did this, it was a Spotify one. So I can't even remember if we did this with video. I think we only did it with audio last time. Is
I
this the first for us
It might be a first for us to like be on camera
at the
and
same
doing
time?
this. Yeah, but either way, man, like the first time you gave me like a platform just to be like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like brand new into the wrestling community and shit. So, you know,
Yeah, I was
we're
gonna
back here
say,
talking about Wrestle Kingdom 17.
look at us now. You've gone from brand new the last time we spoke properly to leaps and bounds ahead of me. I've sort of faded into the background because real life happens, but oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least that you're doing well and everything. So, it's a win-win for you too.
Yeah. And with the time zones and all that, both of us watching Wrestle Kingdom, obviously for you, you actually waited, you didn't watch it live.
No, I did not. I like my sleep. If I do not get my 8 hours of sleep, I'm just a menace, and you don't want me to be like annoying to you or whatever. Like I'll get
Yeah.
snippy and snappy. Like, no, I need my 8 hours of sleep.
Yep. I know what you mean. But it's like Wrestle Kingdom for you is the Saudi shows for me. The Saudi shows for me don't like the pre-show on the network will start at 2 in the morning and the main show
Mm,
kick off till 3 a.m. And I'm just like, no.
okay, okay.
But yeah, so for me, Wrestle Kingdom, it kicked off at 4:20. And well, the pre-show did, and the main show kicked off at 5:20. I'm like, oh, this is like timing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not used to having shows at a decent time. And it, to be fair, also finished at 10 o'clock at night. But wow,
Oh,
that Tokyo Dome is huge. It
yeah,
is
man. I can't wait to like visit it.
it would be amazing. It's definitely the WrestleMania of New Japan.
Yep, that's exactly what I said.
All right, so I did load up the matches here just so I don't get them in order and everything.
Yeah.
And you are my what I call my residential New Japan expert because I tend to really only watch New Japan when it comes to Wrestle Kingdom. Other than that, like the
Yeah.
tag leagues and the G1s, unless it's Will Ospreay, I really don't watch it. And even then, I just tend to watch the highlights because
Yeah,
Will
yeah.
Ospreay's my guy. But now that
Mm-hmm.
TMDK has made a comeback, I'll probably follow them a bit because I mean, my second guy is their leader. I'm a
Yeah, yeah.
SJ fan. All right, so we had the exhibition match. So,
Yeah.
and this is where it'll come in handy having you on. Your pronunciation will be better than mine.
I mean for the first guy, I'm still having trouble with him, so we could just say like I think
Ryohei
it's
Oiwa?
yeah, it's Ryohei, something like that, man. Like, oh, I always get his name wrong.
So yeah,
But
Ryohei Oiwa and Oleg.
yeah, yeah, Bolton, yeah. This was a very good like exhibition match
Hmm.
just for like 3 minutes. It was just to get the crowd warmed up. And Bolton has been on the wrestling team that Nagata has been like training.
Oh,
So he sees like a lot of potential in him. I see a lot of potential in both of these guys. They wanted to prove something, but they couldn't. In 3 minutes, it was like, nope, it's a draw, guys. We gotta do this next time. But it was a very good opener to be like, oh, look, awesome wrestling.
yeah, and I think I tuned in just as they were doing the entrances, or I barely missed the entrances, something like that. And I remember
Yeah.
him saying exhibition match, but for me personally, I didn't comprehend what that meant. They probably did explain it, but I don't know.
Oh,
Life
so
happens.
basically in general, Yeah, in general, for like an exhibition match, it's just like how Shibata took on Zack Sabre Jr. that time where they just had a wrestling match. That's basically what it is. An exhibition match is just to showcase your
Mm.
wrestling skills, your talent. It's not necessarily like you have to fight for a belt or anything. No story, no babyface, no heel. It's the bare bones of like what you'll see in like a wrestling school type of setting.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
and that's what I thought of. That's somewhat what I expected. The only thing that caught me off guard was we barely got going, and it was ding, ding, ding. I'm like, wait, what? It's over
Yeah,
already.
exactly.
Like, I was
Yeah,
enjoying it.
once. Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Exactly, man.
is 3 minutes a good time limit, or do you reckon it should be extended? If so, how long till?
I like what they do with the TV title that it's 15 minutes. Like that's a very good point, like a good point to get like everything in, tell a story even though it's an exhibition match. So I would either go between like that 10-minute mark, maybe 15-minute mark would be like that nice juiciness. But yeah,
Mhm.
you're totally right. Once the bell rang, I was like, damn, 3 minutes already?
Yeah, I would have said maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, but
Yeah,
3 minutes is just not long enough. Like it
yeah.
was, and so a time limit draw as well. I can't specifically remember. I think it was Oleg Bolton. He was the one that impressed me in that match.
Yeah, yeah. He was definitely impressive in that match.
And this is just a pre-show as well. Like for a pre-show, it was interesting.
Hmm.
The next one was the New Japan Rambo, which is New
The
Japan's
most,
version of the Royal Rumble.
yes.
And it seems like everyone has their own version of the Royal Rumble now, but everyone has this. So the Royal Rumble, you can only win by being last man standing. You can only be eliminated by throwing your opponent
Hmm.
top rope. But everyone else is over the top rope, disqualification, submission, pinfall.
Yeah.
I think it's like everything. It's like GCW has the same rules. You've got Impact's version, which is Gauntlet for the gold.
Yeah, yeah. They
I think
have different types of versions. But yeah, I mean, Japan always comes up with some weird, cool things. Especially a Rambo where like they have all these guys competing. They come out like every like 2 minutes, 1 minute or so, and it is like a Royal Rumble, like you said. The only difference is that someone could get thrown over the top rope. Someone could tap out, someone could get pinned, and that's how they get eliminated. The only difference is that because they do these, once you get down to the last four, that's it for the match. Those four guys will fight on like a different show. And that's what like I think American fans probably wouldn't understand, or they'll be like, why is this happening? But
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing.
But
And it
I
came down
didn't
to
mind it.
show
Like
what?
I didn't mind it. It's unique, and I'm all
Yeah, it
about
is.
having something different. Like when it's the same thing over and over again, it's like, oh yeah, you're copying this show. I can. Why would I watch this one? You can't get this anywhere else.
Yeah, you really can't. New Japan definitely does a lot of things that I'm like, you know, it looks good on paper, but then after a while, you sort of just get used to it, and you're like, oh, look, it's another Rambo type of thing.
Mm.
You know that they changed the King of Pro Wrestling trophy into this baby blue belt, so now it's a championship title.
Wow. Speaking of championship titles, who was it? Dr. Chris Mueller from Bleacher Report. He was on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
I don't know specifically when he put the post. It might have been like 7 hours ago. But I was on Twitter earlier this morning. I saw the post and they were talking about what if um Disney buys WWE,
Oh,
make all the women Disney princesses. And I'm like,
oh my
and
God.
it's just like, what if say imagine Bull Nakano as a Disney princess? And I'm commenting on it going, oh, what if they brought the instead of the women's championship, it was the undisputed universal Disney princess ship and bring back
Oh my God.
bring back like the butterfly belt, but instead of having it as a butterfly, you've got it as a pink Disney castle with the little fireworks above it, a Mickey Minnie Mouse head cut out in the middle,
Oh no.
a pink bow on top, and just go full Disney princess with it. I'm like, just for some, I mean, something different, but obviously you can't have the pink and the on the belts anymore because it's so stereotypical. Oh, pink's for females, blues for males. We want the belts all to be the same. because they want the
Yeah.
equality. But we'll get to that bit in a minute because I've got something to do with the equality. All right, so the final four was
Mm-hmm.
Great Khan from
Mm-hmm.
United Empire, Shingo Tagagi,
Shingo Takagi. Takagi.
and I'm assuming everyone just said Shingo.
Yeah, we just say Shingo.
And what faction's he a part of? This is where I get
Li. Oh, he's still part of Lij with Naito.
yeah. So yeah, well, I think I counted. I read that there was 7 going down to 6, but
For Lij.
no, for factions in general.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh, I mean, we no longer have Suzuki-gun.
that's the one. I knew it was one. I just couldn't think of it. But I looked at it, and if you want to get technical, there's more than 7 factions, especially if you're going to count God as a faction.
Oh, good point. I didn't think about that one.
And then like Team Filthy.
Yeah, we have them.
I mean,
That's true
technically
too.
they're New Japan. They're just
Yeah.
it's like the smack. I don't know, New Japan, the American version. I feel like that's the NXT of New Japan.
Yes. However, did you hear the new apparent news that I will have to probably double check on it because I don't like the new news about New Japan Strong.
I have not heard the news about that.
All right. So according to Tana, because Tana likes to do his blogs for New Japan, he had mentioned that New Japan Strong is no longer gonna like be around. We're not sure if that's gonna be just like a taping thing or they just might move like the brand New Japan Strong to specific like pay-per-view-esque type of events rather
Mm.
than like a weekly thing. So we're not sure what's happening, but like when I read that, I was like, what is happening? I love New Japan Strong. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's
Well,
happening.
I'm not opposed to it becoming a pay-per-view thing like New Japan in general is, because it seems really weird that it's a weekly show, but New Japan itself doesn't have that weekly show.
Mm, that's true. It's just that I guess when you talk to like I guess people in media and rights and all that kind of stuff, like Japan does things a little bit differently than us here. I think, you know, the US side was probably telling Japan like, look, this is the United States. Everyone is so used to like a weekly show.
Mm.
So, let's do it as a weekly show and then in Japan they could do whatever they want. I just think it's two different like ideologies and this is why we have a weekly show over here and they don't just because of how
Yeah.
media is presented.
Well, I mean, you don't get the weekly shows for the, say, shows that you see on IWTV, like Prestige.
No, I mean that's all. Yeah. Okay, I could see that too. It's just hmm, I don't know. But then again, Strong is not doing the same thing what Access is doing about like showing New Japan matches from the big events on Access TV.
Mm.
So yeah, I could definitely see that like IWTV doesn't have like those shows don't have weekly stuff, but you know,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I just don't want New Japan Strong to go. Like I love the whole product.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun little tangent. We were talking
Yeah,
about the rainbow. So we had Great Khan, Shingo, Sho, and Toro Yano.
yeah, Yano,
So we said Shingo was a
Yano.
part of LIJ. Shows,
Yes, still House of Torture / Bullet Club.
yeah,
It's weird
and Toro Yano is
chaos still.
so it's gonna essentially be a battle of the main 4 factions.
Yeah,
Actually, I wouldn't say. Hold on. Yeah, well, I suppose without Suzuki-gun there, that'd almost shift United Empire into one of the main 4 factions.
mm-hmm.
Who wins it?
Shingo wins it. He wins it when New Year's Dash happens the next night.
That's
Shingo
right.
won
It's
it.
already happened, hasn't it?
What happened?
New Dash. That's happened already, hasn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here I am thinking, oh yeah, let's do a quick prediction. See, this is how out of New Japan I am. I keep forgetting that because it's weird. back on another tangent. You've got night 1 and night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom, but they're what, 2 weeks apart?
Yeah. I
What?
don't know when the second. Yeah. So okay. So what it is that like this night had like all the major. When I say this night, January 4th, for everyone listening out there, this one had all the major storylines. Like had their matches and stuff. The second one is going to be dealing with Lij taking on Congo of pro wrestling of Noah. So that's that.
Which would explain the backstage altercation. We'll get to that later as well.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here I'm thinking, oh yeah. All right, so you said Shingo won it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he is now the proud owner of that baby blue Kingdom Pro Wrestling Championship title.
All right, and your next match, the Antonio Inoki Memorial 6-man tag.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
had Nagata, Kojima, and Makabe.
Makabe. Yeah.
This is why I've got you on. Oh God, I'm blind. Speaking of, for those that haven't seen me, I now wear glasses because I've been legitimately blind for a long time. All right, so we've got Tatsumi
Fujinami. Yep.
Tiger Mask, and Minoru Suzuki. So Suzuki Gun is disbanding because I'm assuming Suzuki's retiring.
No, he is not retiring. He said he wants the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship title. But they realized that because they really weren't doing much together as a group, they just, disbanded. It was one of those things of like, it was a great ride, but there's really nothing for them to do. And you could definitely see that.
I mean, hold all the belts at the same time, invade AEW.
They could. But that's what I took out of it rather than like what was reported, which was not true. Made no sense.
Well, I mean, you were saying, I've seen you on Twitter saying it before, like they're not doing anything. They're a group that doesn't act like a group. What's the point of having them as a group? So storyline makes sense in the best possible way. I think this is the best possible outcome for the group.
Uploading.
All right, we are back, but this time we're on Skype instead of Zoom because apparently Zoom, if you don't have Pro, goes for 10 minutes. To be fair, we almost covered that whole pre-show in 10 minutes with tangents. That's actually impressive.
Yeah, it is definitely impressive.
All right, so let's reload that back up. We were up to the third and final one. So Nagata, Kojima, and Makabe versus Fujinami, Suzuki, and Tiger Mask in the 6-man tag team match.
Yeah.
I don't remember this one. I remember watching the Rambo and then it just finishing. Or did I?
So what happened was that after the Rambo, they took a mini like intermission and then they came back with this. And this was to me a disappointment just because it ended in 9 minutes and it was Tiger Mask's fault for this one. Even Suzuki was like, oh my god, man, all right, because Tiger Mask got the he took the loss, but it looked like it wasn't supposed to be finished in like 9 minutes. It was just really off. I was just like, man.
That would explain, because after the Rambo, I thought, oh, there's that hour of just, like, they don't do promo packages or anything like that. So in their intermissions, it's just a shot of the ring. Sometimes you have to talk, and sometimes it's just music. And I'm like, oh, we've got an hour to the main card. So I had a nap. And I woke up in the main card. Hence, I had to go rewatch it. So who pins Tiger Mask?
Makabe. Makabe pins Tiger Mask in this weird, like, they have this tumble where like Tiger Mask was gonna do a move, but it like just fumbled in between, and Makabe just decided to like clutch and like sit on him, and then that was it. I was just like, oh, this is mad awkward. It was so awkward to see it.
So was it just a random pairing of 6 men, or were they from the same faction?
So Makabe, Kojima, and Nagata, you could put them in like main unit. Over in Japan, we call them hontai. It's not hentai, it's hontai. So, or also main unit. Fujinami just comes in whenever he's needed, and Tiger Mask is there whenever he's needed. But all these guys together, like, at one point or another, like worked with Inoki anyway. Like they're all connected to him.
So let's kick off with the main card. We've got the
Mm-hmm.
tag team match for the Junior IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. So Junior Heavyweights, right?
Yes.
That's where I got mixed up because I said Junior. Yeah, okay, that's my bad. It's Junior Heavyweights, not Junior IWGP Heavyweight. So it's TJP Francesco Akira from United Empire versus
Mm-hmm.
Leo Rush and Yo.
Mm-hmm.
And they're with which
There were chaos.
Chaos, right? So TJP Akira, there is it catch 22 or is it catch 2 slash
Yes.
2?
It's catch 22.
So this was an interesting match. I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't even realize it was Leo Rush at first because I only watched that match this morning as well, and I missed the entrances. But I'm watching, I'm like, this guy looks like Leo Rush. Like the tattoos are very similar. Next man
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
Leo Rush. I'm like, oh. But it's my first time seeing. I think I've seen Yo wrestle before, but it's my first time witnessing Francesco Akira. He
Mm-hmm.
was impressive. He's got a bright future.
He really does. Akira is doing wonderfully in the United Empire and in New Japan. He recently came from All Japan Pro Wrestling and was trained under Tajiri. So he has that under his belt. And then with TJP, man, that team, they create like tag team offense like you don't really see anymore, right? They get like they get you hyped and stuff. This match was really, really great. Even though I'm not a fan of Leo Rush, but I do give him props for being in this match, finishing the match because he got busted open on the ramp and was bleeding the whole entire time. Yo is doing great as well too. Fantastic match. The thing was that at the end, TJP, this is why he's so ancient in this business, is because he won with a they have it here as neck lock. No, he won with a small package and hooked his feet together and bam, he won the match.
And it was
It was so
over in a
great.
split second as well. Like
Yeah,
it
because
came
of the
from out
way
of
that he did it. Hmm?
it came from out of nowhere. It's like into the
Yeah.
roll up 1, 2, 3. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I felt the same way too. I was like, whoa, what's happened?
So what's the story with Leo Rush and because you said they're part of Chaos, right?
Yeah.
So
All right.
Leo
So
Rush and AEW because when they had Chaos
uh
over there, there was
no,
no.
no, no, no. No, basically, so Leo Rush was like a free agent ever since he decided, to call out TK for the way that he phrased his tweet about Big Swole. So, Leo Rush is no longer with AEW. And so he was just floating around. He probably released like an album during that time. So what happened is that in October of last year, New Japan Pro Wrestling was over here in my home state of New York City. And Yo was getting jumped by I forgot who was jumping him and stuff. So out comes Leo Rush and basically that's how the tag team started because Leo Rush saved Yo. Both of them are in chaos. That's like under Okada. And then they went through the whole entire Super Junior Tag League, thus them being the winners as a tag team.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Catch 22 won the match, which I'm so happy
Hmm.
about because I'm all about that United Empire.
Both of us are.
It's funny. It's two of the competitors in this match on either side are both known as controversial people. Leo Rush and TJP have a history of
Yeah,
rubbing everyone the wrong way.
yeah.
So it's like I'm more interested because obviously I'm United Empire all the way because Aussie Open, but I'm quite interested to who the wrestling fandom was supporting when they all give shit to TJP. They give it to Leo Rush. It's like, although they're controversial for different reasons. I know TJP's anti-vax, which is why a lot of people don't like him. Leo Rush is.
He just does things. I think for me with Leo Rush, it's just a personality thing that I just don't like, that I just can't get behind. I study a lot like in-ring stuff. I don't really
like Enzo.
Enzo, yeah, I mean, I'm okay with liking Enzo, just because like I can understand that like he's not always like a character, in a way. But when it comes to like Leo, like I like to study in-ring ability, and I think that everything that he does is a little too flashy, and at times, because everything is all about timing. So if you're taking a little extra seconds to do something flashy, the next sequence that comes in could be like very fatal, because those 2 seconds could have been you preparing your body to like take whatever sequence comes next, right? So like I look at it like that. Plus, anyway, I just think he just rubs people the wrong way and stuff like that. But with TJP, he's all over the place. But I don't think people get on him now, because he's in United Empire. He's with Kira, but TJP is gonna go to the beat of his own drum anyway.
All right, so next match.
Yes.
Kairi versus Tam Nakano. Is Tam related to Paul Nakano?
I have no idea.
It's just
I am learning about the Stardom women the same time that everyone else is learning about them, so I do not know.
What's interesting, because on the Wikipedia page, they've now got their own women's division under New Japan. So you've got the Stardom roster and then the New Japan women's division roster, which is only got 2 people in there, so they're obviously slowly going to build it over time. It was there were a lot of complaints about this match, like for instance it being too short. It was 6 minutes long, or like 4 seconds shy of 6 minutes.
Oh, I see that here. I think like me looking back, yeah, it kind of felt short, but I was enjoying the fact that this is like a really big freaking deal. Like I was sort of like tearing at the concept of seeing these 2 women come out, be on the New Japan stage at WrestleKingdom for this belt. Like I was looking at it from a whole different perspective of like, whoa, this is awesome. This is great. Yeah, I could see that it was damn short. I don't know why it was short, but yeah.
I think it's because it took more than 6 minutes for the entrances. I think Kairi's entrance alone was 6 minutes. But the aesthetics of it were amazing. Like, I love that they've kept her sailor thing from WWE.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming she had that before she went there. But
I think so too. I think she had it before, and they just like amplified it.
Even the music for both of them was just very almost peaceful. Like,
yeah, man.
Just relaxed and enjoying it. You're not vibing out with that heavy, hardcore boom, boom, boom.
I mean, I like my heavy hardcore metal music at times.
It's like, I remember Kairi in WWE. She's wrestling the same style, same moveset now, but the difference is the intensity is turned up tenfold, and I'm like, I do not want to be on the end of one of Kairi's kicks. Boy, does she kick hard. Oh,
yeah, man. You're totally right about that. Ever since she came back and wanted to like really put her name back in to the conversation, like it's really like, oh, this is the Kairi I want to see.
Like you watch,
and Tam did a wonderful job.
You watch Kairi in this match with how hard she was hitting. If she was like this in WWE, I'd give her a run that she'd get more over than Io Shirai. Because you look at it, it's like she was playing second fiddle to Io, she was playing second fiddle to Asuka. She was, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, and I hate that people use this analogy, but it's the best one everyone's got, is when she was teaming with Asuka or teaming in NXT with Io Shirai, she was the Marty Jannetty. the other two with the Shawn Michaels.
Mm, I guess. You know, I guess, sometimes the WWE personality like takes different types of forms and stuff like that. And people appreciated Kyrie, even if like, maybe she was the Marty Jannetty of like the team and stuff. But sometimes when you're in a trios team or even a tag team, it's hard to find that footing for WWE because there's like WWE is so broad. It's sort of like everybody likes something, that someone else doesn't like, and you might feel like you're not getting enough spotlight or whatever. Like it just happens because WWE is so freaking huge and big. When it comes to like New Japan and Stardom, it's a little bit smaller and concentrated
Yeah.
because they don't have the huge avenues like WWE. So I can see that.
And on
I just
top of
really
that,
never paid attention.
she wasn't a Nia Jax. She wasn't a full horsewoman.
Hmm.
There was, I mean, how do you compete in a women's division that has the full horsewomen in it?
That's true. You really have to separate yourself from that if, since that's what they're going to go with. You got to separate, and they got to, wrestling fans definitely got to like talk you up. You got to get
Especially
some type
when
of footing.
that three of the four horsewomen now have some of the hugest egos I've ever met. I think the only one that doesn't have an ego is Bailey. Like you never
Yeah. I
hear
mean, I don't,
anything about her.
yeah.
You hear Sasha Banks is all about, oh, Ronda gets paid more than I do. I'm like, Ronda's the biggest star.
Hmm.
Oh, Charlotte gets paid more than I do. I'm like, there's a reason for that. I'm not a Charlotte fan, but I see why. And then Becky
Yeah. Yeah.
Lynch, thanks to Nia Jax, organically got over because Becky wasn't over till Nia Jax. Well, like
Yeah.
she
I'm going
was
to have to agree
over,
with you with that.
but then that image of her bloodshot face got her really over. And speaking of the
Hmm.
four horsewomen, after the match,
Yeah.
Mercedes Monet, it's this is I don't know. I'm not a fan of this. Well,
Uh-huh.
aside from what they call the botched move, depending on who you say
Yeah.
botched, some people say Monet botched it, some people say Kyrie botched it. It was a weird. I did. It looks like she was going for. I don't even know what she was trying to go for. She had Kyrie hooked on a back, but on reverse, spun her around. It looks like it went wrong, and it looks like she tried to save it with an armbar, but then Kyrie wasn't prepared for that. So then, almost like they
Hmm.
both botched it. That
Yeah.
whatever was meant to happen didn't happen.
Yeah. But did you like her entrance? Like everything that she did when she came out?
I'm glad they stuck with Mercedes. I'm not sure I agree with. See, sometimes they're saying money, sometimes they're saying Monet, then they're going money. I'm like, oh, can you just pick one and stick with it? The theme song I do not like. This theme song is just, it's like they've known she's coming to New Japan for how long, and that's the best they could come up with.
Well, I don't think it was them. I think all the production was like her, and then she had to get somebody to film all that, edit it, send it to New Japan. Sometimes New Japan doesn't really like work on that stuff. Sometimes, depending if you're like a big star, like maybe like Okada and like the headliners for what they did for like the Wrestle Kingdom like
Yeah.
package to show everybody. I think New Japan is involved in that, but like when it comes to Mercedes, that whole thing was on her. I don't even think like New Japan had anything to do with it other than approving it and making sure
Yeah.
that it gets paid.
Well, it's going to be her
Yeah.
stardom one as well, because it's got like this, it's got the beat, which isn't bad, but it just seems really generic. And then just randomly throughout it, Monet.
People on Twitter have been saying that it sounds like that hip hop song Jump Around. It sounds like that, but I'm like, I would have to listen to it again.
It seems very pretentious and obnoxious. Like it's perfect for a heel,
Oh man.
but
Yeah.
she is. If she wants to go babyface, she needs a new song. She's screwed if she wants to become a babyface again, because that will not work.
Yeah, it definitely won't. But I don't think she's gonna be a babyface like anytime soon, or even
Mm.
wants to be a babyface. She came out. I really want to give her props for like her gear, the kimono that she had.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, that really does look nice. It really does. And then she had the crown to represent United States and America and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. And then she comes out, she does her promo, and I'm like, all right, I'm not really impressed. I'm not really getting the hype behind all of this. And then to fight Kyrie, I think that's the most safest thing that she could do because she knows Kyrie.
And they have history.
My whole biggest, hmm?
They have history together.
Yeah, they do. My biggest thing, and I say this on my show about my whole take on the whole thing, is that Japan is different. Japan is not like America. Over here in America, like you can say you're gonna do something and you go do it, and you don't even have to have like 20 years of experience. You go and do it, you're able to do it, you're fine. But when it comes to Japan and wrestling, they take their wrestling so seriously that
Yeah.
you can't just be like, I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna wrestle these girls. These girls have been wrestling together in the dojo style, eating together, chemistry together. This is why in Stardom you see spectacular matches, because these girls know each other and they train together and all that. If you're not doing that, for your time that she was away from WWE, if there was no way for her to do that, I'm concerned. Okay. I don't want people out there to be like, oh, I'm just hating to hate. I am concerned because these women are a different breed. And if you're not used to that style, you might not end up liking it and stuff like that. You can have a fake smile and be like, yeah, I like it. But at the same time, it's like, I'm concerned. So I would like her and only her to prove me wrong during her run in Stardom, wrestling, stuff like that, because I don't want to hear another complaint. I don't want her to run away because she left WWE twice whenever she gets bored, but that's just me. If you guys have a problem, you guys know where to find me on Twitter. But other than that, it's like, I am really concerned about her being here because I know that she's going to get exposed with those girls. She took Kyrie, easy way out, easy money for San Jose, February 18th, Battle in the Valley, when she fights Kyrie. I'm not sure if it's going to be for the title, but again, like the safest thing. Oh, it's for the title?
Yeah.
I really hope they don't give it to her just because of like her name and how many tickets that she's actually like selling, because she is selling out the event because her name is there. But
I have a feeling
again, easy.
I reckon I have a feeling they'll give her the title. I reckon that's why she's there. They wanted her, and like you've seen how she is with the whole, I want to get paid more, I deserve more, I'm that good. I reckon she's strongholded herself into a title win. And it's quite interesting that IWC haven't picked up on. We've just witnessed something very similar. And they've jumped on Charlotte Flair going, oh, of course she comes back straight into a title opportunity. First foot in New Japan, straight into a title opportunity, different reaction.
Yeah, man, but no one's ready to have that conversation because you know exactly what it is.
Yeah. Although, going back to the promo for a minute, you said I agree with you for the most part. The bit that got me hooked was when she got right down and went I'm gonna make you bankrupt, bitch.
Yeah, I like that part. Yeah.
It's like, it was very just bland and run by the mill, but that's the bit where I thought, okay, now it's getting here. That was her way of saying it's gonna be for the title.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I should realize that. And then also she had her backstage comments, and man, it sounded so robotic and it sounded very over performative. And I'm like, I believed Sasha Banks when she was in WWE. That character, I believed her. I was like, yes, she is the boss. I could be like, awesome, go ahead. But this time around, her being Monet and being like the blueprint and the CEO, I was just like, I can't, because I'm like, this is the most fakest thing I'm hearing. And then she asks the Japanese press if they have any questions. And, it's like, if you don't know what happens backstage, is that if you are a foreigner, if you're a gaijin, most of the time they don't ask you questions. So you're there giving a promo, basically if it's like Okada, obviously they're asking him questions. If it's like Hiromu, they're asking him questions. But if you're like a Jay White or like a Will Ospreay, most likely they're not asking you questions. If you're a Tama, they're not asking you questions. And to see her face go from like, really, I guess, I don't know, from like excited. And then when she's like, do you guys have any questions? And like nothing happened. And you could see like her heart break in that instant. I was like, oh man. Man. You should have did more research.
Yeah. All right. So coming up to the IWGP Tag Team Championships, Bishamon, which is Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi, versus FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler.
Yeah.
The way they sold it with when FTR came out, they had to lose. There was no way you could justify them winning because it was the commentary team were going, oh, they must be fatigued. They only arrived half an hour before the show with your flight delays and everything. And with how they sold that, if they won that match, that would have just made Goto and Yoshihashi look like absolute punks.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to lose, and it was only to make their opponents look strong.
Yeah, I've been saying that if you're not gonna defend the IWGP Tag Team Championships, you gotta lose it. I really wish that FTR was doing the World Tag League Tour just to show the Japanese people that they can be like a face on the poster for New Japan and be like, yes, we can be reliable and be your champions. And then they could also get a feel for like all the other Japanese wrestlers that they're going to face and, just add something to the division. But they didn't do that. But I am happy that FTR did drop the belts to Yoshihashi and Goto. I honestly thought Aussie Open was going to win World Tag League to have the rematch. That should have been the case.
So dirty on that.
Yeah, I know, man. Like, I was hoping it was Aussie Open. Nothing against like Goto and Yoshihashi, but I've seen them so many times. They're so good together. And by the way, they're also in Chaos. But yeah, FTR drops the belts to Goto and Yoshihashi. That's a celebration.
And I know what you mean by not defending it because it was the same story with the AAA titles. I think they defended the Ring of Honor the most, and even then it was like very rarely did they defend the Ring of Honor titles. And you barely saw them on AEW television. To be fair, that's probably the reason why they're not AEW Tag Team Champions, because they're just not defending the belts that they do have. So why give them more belts that aren't going to get defended? Especially when you got a team like the Suzumu boys that are over as all hell. I can't even think of what they call them.
The Acclaimed. The Acclaimed.
I was gonna call them the Arse Boys. I'm like, oh, hold on, that's a whole different team.
Yeah, it
is. But I don't know, with this match, it was very C+. I was watching the match and I'm like, I've seen so much better out of FTR.
I don't know, man.
I didn't see the Hikuleo match with Kyle Anderson, but everyone said that was one of my. If they're saying that was bland,
that one was disappointing.
I expect FTR are meant to be. They call themselves 7-star. This was at best 3-star.
I could see that. I don't know what it is. They're getting complacent without actually like putting in the work. I still believe that if you are an active wrestler, you should not have a podcast because it makes no sense. But then again, someone could come back at me and be like, well, Tama has a podcast, but Tama's Tama, but he still puts in the work. FTR hasn't really been putting in the work, and I'm not really afraid to like say that. And I wish that they can prove a lot of people wrong and not do, spots from like Bret Hart matches and stuff like that. It's like become your own tag team. This is why people remember you guys as becoming your own tag team. So I have no idea, dude. Like, I really want the best for them, but at the same time, it's like, if you're not going to give me anything to work with, then like, what's the point? You
Well, they
know?
were putting amazing Ring of Honor matches on with the Briscoes, and they're great in AEW, but this was just a complete and
Yeah.
utter letdown.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get on to something a little bit more hopefully positive. The tournament final for the inaugural New Japan Television Championship. Zack Sabre
Yes.
Jr., Ren Narita.
Yep.
We were discussing a match before that ended in a flash. The submission here was barely locked in and Narita was tapping.
Yeah, he caught him quickly in an armbar though, but I think because of the extension, like he was just like, I gotta tap. He probably felt it. But
He'd
I
also
like
been
this.
working on
What happened?
He'd also been working on it throughout the match, so the storytelling
Uh
there made sense.
yeah, here and there. But sometimes if you lock in the armbar just right, yeah, you're tapping immediately. Because you can fucking like feel it and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Zach is platinum blonde now. He totally decided to be a blonde, which is interesting. Him versus Ren Narita was a very great match. I enjoyed these 15-minute matches for the television championship title. It the idea is that this title is supposed to be defended on like Strong and like New Japan World and stuff. So now with the news that I told you earlier, I don't know what's happening anymore. But I really want to see like a part two. Ren Narita is going to be big in New Japan, and Zach, finally has a singles title because he kept getting tag team titles, and he is the first ever British holder of the New Japan Cup.
Well, after watching that match with all the submissions, I really hope at Forbidden Door 2 we get Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson. I want to see that
Yeah.
match now. Like, they're just
Um, I
submission specialists.
Yeah, a nice good old fashioned submission match would be nice. Would also be nice if Tony Khan can send Danielson over to Japan because
Mm.
this dude was like, I want to work Japan, and it's like, bro, where the fuck have you been?
Yeah, and he was like, I was watching the Renee Paquette podcast the other day when
Uh-huh.
like it was live on YouTube and she was interviewing Danielson, and it was all
Oh,
about when he was in WWE, they were trying to make a deal happen so he could go to New Japan, and obviously just never panned out. And then
yeah.
he was considering retiring, and like he
Oh,
wanted to be a full-time father. He genuinely was at that point. He's like, I'm done. I'm ready to retire. But he had the three options with both AEW and WWE offering him huge money, and he said that it was Brie that turned around and said, "You're getting offered that kind of money and you want to retire? Are you crazy?" So it then
mm,
became to where he was going to go, and he just simply wanted to do something different, which is why he ended up in AEW.
yeah.
And I was reading something the other day. Um, Bryan Danielson, since coming to WWE, has been neutered. Do you agree with that?
Has been muted.
Neutered, as in watered down. He's not as big of a star as he once was.
I don't know if I give you a accurate answer only because I have definitely just been so over him. He
Mm.
used to be like my favorite wrestler back in the day, and that was like during the Ring of Honor days, the early days of him. Maybe he has. I just don't really care for what he's doing because it just seems like it just jumps from like one thing, then another thing, and then there's like drama here, drama there, but it's never like, all right, Danielson, what is your story you want me to like be invested in? I can't be invested in everything if there's no like connection to like all this stuff. Like I'm just over him, basically.
Well, it's like he's part of the BCC, but all the focus has either been on Wheeler Yuta and John Moxley. It's like, what's he doing? Even Claudio's felt like he's in the background, even though he's been feuding with Jericho.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel like everything is breathing, because if it was breathing, then maybe we won't have a conversation about like, is he like watered down by now? It's just really, really weird.
And if they can, if they can play it up, they can give him a character, focus on his submissions, have him just do submission victories from now until Forbidden Door, and then halfway between now and then, have him interact with Sabre Jr. in a Twitter war or whatever it might be, and lead it up to Forbidden Door. Obviously, you're not going to have the time limit on a pay-per-view unless you make it the main event, but a 60-minute Iron Man submission-only match. Who can get the most submissions in a 60 minutes?
That's gonna probably take too long. Maybe a 30-minute.
Actually, you probably even
because the crowd.
I was gonna say maybe a 15-minute, but then that'd be like one. So yeah,
maybe it's a 30-minute. Yeah.
That would be a fun time. But then
that would be a fun time.
You know what's gonna happen is it's gonna come to 30 minutes, and as they always do with the Iron Man matches now, it's gonna be a draw. They're gonna go into overtime, and then knowing Tony Khan, he's gonna try and overbook it, and you're gonna get a whole Montreal Screwjob-esque type thing, just to give.
Okay.
They'll probably either give give Zack Sabre Jr. the win, and then screw Danielson over, so Danielson turns heel, goes against management in AEW, and becomes the biggest heel. I don't know. It could work if they do it right.
It could work if they listen to us.
They can achieve all that without overbooking, and that just seems to be AEW's specialty at the moment: overbooking finishes, especially with either in. It seems like every match has some form of interference in AEW.
I stopped watching AEW a while ago.
Yeah,
I just can't.
I watch it on my days off if I'm bored, but it's not something like if I come home from work, I'm not jumping to AEW.
Yeah.
I watch the pay-per-views usually because that's where the best wrestling is.
And
it's not story heavy.
All
right, so our next match is for the singles match for the Never Openweight Championship. It's the champion Carl Anderson against your boy Tama Tonga.
Yep.
I was watching the end to this match, and I'm like, I can just imagine Marie sitting and she jumping up and down. Yes, Tama, go.
Yeah, I wasn't really jumping, but I was tearing up at that. He finally got the belt back.
Would have had a smile from cheek to cheek. I can just imagine your joy. Because I know you're a big Tama boy.
Yeah, Tama and Carl Anderson put on a wonderful match, and I am happy that we got Monday Night Raw Carl Anderson to like show up, because I was like, man, I can't take another disappointing match like he had with Hikuleo. And if you give Tama anything less than 110%, this guy is gonna definitely like probably beat the shit out of you. At first, I thought that this was gonna be like either like a no contest, because how it started in the beginning of Carl Anderson really taking advantage of Tama and like getting in a lot of offense, including like spiking him on the freaking ramp. And I was like, oh God, here it is. It's gonna be a draw. They're gonna do this chase. Tama's gonna go to WWE to chase him for the title. Like, man, I am fantasy booking while this match is going on, because I am like, that's it.
See, there was also a story they could have gone with. Like, they just had him. They had him come out as Machine Gun Carl Anderson rather than WWE Carl Anderson. They had the chance to put up the fact that he'd been holding the title hostage, really play on that. But they focus more on his Bullet Club history, and I'm like, why not use the fact he's held the title hostage, bring up that he's been in WWE, that... I mean, even though they weren't there, they could have brought up AJ Styles, they could have brought up Luke Gallows, they could have said, oh, he's been too busy feuding with Judgment Day. And the fact that he's a face on Raw, but yet he was a heel, I'm like, oh, and I hate when they do that. It's like,
yeah, I think for this one, it had to be strictly New Japan for Carl Anderson to be like, I'm done. Like this was his last match, and then now he's like fully with WWE. You know this because if you watch the backstage comments, he does go up to Tama and like nothing really happens. He says thank you to Tama. Tama says thank you to him. It's a very wholesome moment. You know that this was his like last match there. Or is it? I don't know. But you do get the sense that it was his last match after that.
Well, I love the fact that we're getting WWE over in New Japan or Noah with Shinsuke, and with the breaking news of Vince coming back.
Yeah.
Are we
But
really?
he's only gonna be involved in media rights and sell, and that's about it. He's not gonna do any day to day. If he does any day to day, that's gonna be really bad repercussions, super bad repercussions.
It's like no one wanted him back. It's just like and he says nothing's gonna change. But I mean, when he brought in Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman for booking Raw and SmackDown, he was still the one booking it. And then a week later, Eric Bischoff was gone. And I mean, 2 months later, Paul Heyman was gone. Well, what was the point?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. How did you enjoy? You just caught the end of that, right? Of the Carl Anderson and Tama match.
I ended up rewatching it. Technically this morning, but last night before I went to bed.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just trying to think. It was one of my more. I haven't really seen much of Tama Tonga outside of Impact, and even then he hasn't had a major role in Impact. So this was a really good introduction for me. Like, I think I actually enjoyed Tama more than I did Carl.
Yeah.
Because the Carl Anderson we saw here, as I was saying before, wasn't the WWE one. This is the same one we saw down at Impact Wrestling, where he comes to the ring, he does a which I found funny is when he did it, as he got almost to the end of it, you watch the referee and the announcer just drop trying not to get hit. I'm like, that's brilliant. But the match itself,
they do that.
It wasn't the best match in the world, but it was definitely a good match. You got to give Carl his flowers for putting Tama over like that. When he clearly didn't have to. He could have just done a half-ass Hikuleo match, which makes me wonder, was that Hikuleo match intentionally bad?
I have no idea, dude. I'm still trying to figure it out. I was just disappointed. That's all it was. It wasn't even bad. It was just a disappointment in like how the match played out, because how in the first half of the match, Hikuleo is dominant, and then all of a sudden, here comes Carl Anderson. He finds like a weakness, and then like Hikuleo looks like he doesn't know how to wrestle again. It was so disappointing.
That sounds like Hikuleo in general. I've seen Hikuleo on both Impact and AEW. He does nothing for me, but big guys generally do that. They're very awkward in the ring. They're more, when you get a big guy that's very awkward in the ring, they're very power friendly, and if they focus solely on the power, it's good. And the moment they try and get him to do anything athletic, I'm like, like watching Omos in the ring. Omos very awkward in the ring if he's not done right.
Yeah.
All right, so 6-man tag team match. This was Muto's last NJPW match.
Yep.
So it was Hiromu Takahashi. So do we have a Hiromu Tanahashi and a Takahashi?
Yeah, we have a Takahashi and a Tanahashi.
And they're both named Hiromu.
No, you have Hiroshi Tanahashi, and then Hiromu's name is what's his first name? Hiromu Takahashi. It's just different spelling.
I've noticed that because some matches they come out and the announcer will go Takahashi Hiromu, but then other matches will be like, or Umano Shota. But yet some people, well, some of them were getting their first name before their last name. Some were getting their last name before their first name. I'm like, okay, now I'm confused.
Okay, but just know that we have Hiroshi Tanahashi for this match.
Yeah. No, it's Takahashi.
Tanahashi. Yes, I am so sorry. No, it's Tana. Yeah, Tana is the ace.
All right, so Wait, hold on. No, I'm looking at the wrong. Yeah, we're at the 6-man match. I'm a match ahead.
Yeah.
So it's Hiroshi Tanahashi,
Yes.
Kaiji Muto, and
Mm-hmm.
Shota Umino
Yes.
versus LIJ, which is
Mm-hmm.
Tetsuya Naito, Sanada, and Bushi.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I loved this match. This match was brilliant. And just the outfits as they're walking out to the ring, I'm like, oh my god, they look so dark and dastardly, like they're just gonna tear holes into their opponents. I'm like, their characters
Yeah,
are
man.
just so well developed. What about you? How did you find this
Yeah.
match?
I enjoy this one just because I get to watch Keiji Muto in the ring with these guys, and this is all like generational stuff, Shota Umino being the youngest one in here, and also the son to Red Shoes. Tanahashi, everywhere, has a legendary career. Also, Muto does too. Bushi is always fun to watch. Sonata needs his own spotlight again. The last time they put him in spotlight, you could tell that he was like trying to maneuver around it. But Sonata is really good. And Naito, like, we all freaking love Naito at this point. This was a very good, fun, I guess it says 9-minute match here. It was also funny too when Keiji Muto was going to go to the top rope and Tanahashi was like, no, no, please don't. We don't need you to get hurt. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun match, and I think it wasn't a long match. It was not 9 minutes 20, so not even 10 minutes long. I think
Yeah,
sometimes
man.
that's all you need. You don't need hour-long matches every single match. Like, it's good to have one here and there, but I think from
Mm-hmm.
here on out, the matches only get better.
Yeah,
So
they
now,
really do.
the next match was Hiromu Takahashi. This is
Mm-hmm.
where I was getting Hiroshi Tana and yeah. So one's HT. Yeah, so they're both HTs. Hiromu and Hiroshi Tana.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, because I read 6-man tag and my eyes went diagonally down to Hiromu.
Ah,
That's why I was getting confused. So yeah, now we're up to the 4-way match for the junior heavyweight championship. My God, is it just me or do they have a lot of championships?
they do.
Because they've got the IWGP heavyweight, junior heavyweight. They've got the
Yeah.
tag team, junior tag team. And then on top of that, they've got the Never, even though Never's not, it's on the
Singles
brand.
and 6-man never. They also have the
And
World TV title now, the Kingdom Pro Wrestling title now,
they
the
do all the
IWGP
Rev,
World Heavyweight.
they have the Rev Pros. It's just like, oh my God.
Which the Great Okan is your new Rev Pro champion.
Hell yes. So long as, um, oh, actually, if we go back 2 matches, 3 matches, one thing we forgot to discuss, Zack Sabre Jr. Red Narita, at the end of the match, Zack Sabre Jr. joined
Oh
TMDK.
yeah, yeah,
How
he
did I
did.
forget about that? Some story
I
for
totally
himself.
forgot about that. I
It's
don't know. You're gonna have to take the reins on TMDK for me on this one. I'm still learning about them from you.
all right. So, from my understanding, because Aussies are all throughout New Japan, you've got. Oh, speaking of Aussies, on the commentary team, Gino Gambino, former
Yeah,
Bullet
he came.
Club.
Yeah, he came back.
He's not a part of Bullet Club anymore.
I think he probably still is. I have no
No,
idea.
he left
He
in
could still be part of
2019.
Bullet Club. Oh, well, I mean, he could still hold the banner. I don't think Jay is gonna care.
Mm. So, TMDK, their former leader was Jonah, which is now.
Bronson Reed in WWE.
I was about to say Brodus Clay for a minute.
Oh my God.
So Bronson Reed in WWE. Mikey Nichols and I can't think of their New Japan names or their independent name.
Shane. They,
Shane
they they go back. Hayes.
Shane Hayes.
They
That's
go
it.
by their independent names now.
So they were TM61 in
Yes, that's what I
NXT, which then
remember.
became the Mighty. And then they've been wrestling a bit. There is other members. I think if I click on Zack Sabre Jr., I can actually find this out. Give me 2 seconds with this. No, we're not going to get it there. All right, so we'll get back to that in a minute. So, yeah, TMDK is a mainly Aussie faction, I think, with the
Okay.
exception of Zack Sabre Jr. But it's going to be interesting because you've got Aussie Open, and I'm like,
Hmm.
what happens if United Empire clashes with TMDK? Who do I support? I mean, for me, I'm going to be supporting Aussie Open.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my
Ooh,
first.
yeah.
That's what got me into Japanese wrestling. Was I started off with that Aussie Open versus the Velocities in a Sydney show, which is the one I
Yeah.
set you up with. But
Yeah.
I got you on the part one match where I haven't seen part one. I've only seen part two. Well, you've only seen part
Oh,
one, and I've seen part two, and they're both 30 minutes long. I remember we both had the same reaction. We got to the 15-minute mark and thought, oh, surely this is over. And it looked like it was
yeah.
coming to a conclusion. And then it went another 15 minutes, and it was just some of the moves, like especially Aussie Opens, I think it's their finishes are just wild. And then even the velocities, Paris de Silva does a shooting star DDT. I think that's it.
Wow.
It's
Hmm.
I've never seen that in my life. Like a shooting star is hard enough to perform, but I think when you're doing that, you've also not just the person performing it, but you've also got to give your flowers to the person taking,
Hmm.
because they've got to be in the position and catch the shooting star press midair to and then transition it smoothly into a DDT. So that's going to be hard on both ends.
Yeah.
All right, so where were we? We're up to the four-way for
The
the
Fatal
Junior
Four Way.
Heavyweight
Yeah.
Championship. So it was Taiji Ishimori, the champion, El Desperado, Master Waito, who I'm not familiar with, but this was I think he was the standout for me. And then Hiromu Takahashi, who, when I watched this live, I thought that was
Hmm.
John Morrison,
Oh my God.
mainly because of the pants.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
I
saw
can see that. Yeah, I can see
because
that.
I think I my problem was I was on Twitter and I was zoning in and out because I'm trying to keep up with
Yeah.
what everyone's saying while watching it. Because obviously, I think for
Hmm.
me, that's the best thing to do because I don't know a lot of people, but I got distracted by whatever it was they were talking about in New Japan. And I look in and I see him, and it's got like, if you notice Taya Valkyrie in Impact when her
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
comes up on the screen, it's got that straight up, and that's what his pants
Hmm.
are like. And on top of that, the fluffy bit down the bottom, and I'm like, this looks like John Morrison. And then I didn't hear Morrison's name, and then I'm like, we got to zoom in on the face, and I'm like, okay, it's definitely not Morrison. But the only name I'd heard of Takahashi before. I've never really seen him. Only name I was
Okay.
familiar with was Taiji Ishimori, and I know him from
Hmm.
Impact. But I think actually not even Impact, TNA, because that's how long it's been. I
Yeah.
think he was on Impact a long time ago,
He
but
probably was.
this was a wild match. It was all over the place.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. You know, you have El Desperado, Hiromu, and Taiji. They were all champions
Mm,
for the junior heavyweight, no matter what. And then when you introduce Master Wado, which is the wild card, Master Wado has like improved like tremendously. Before he was in a tag team with Taguchi, and then they went their separate ways, and now he put himself in this championship match, and it was like fantastic. He was actually my pick because I was like, I've already seen the three of them already be champion. Put Master Wado as a champion to grow the junior division, and it
mm.
would have been like really cool because Hiromu actually wants to be in the heavyweight division, but New Japan is like, no, we don't want you there. So they ended up giving it to Hiromu, and like the story that they were all like telling and stuff like was fucking perfect. Like I really enjoyed this
Yeah,
match.
that I agree with that. And the commentators for me really sold the story and got me invested as they were making their entrances. They were telling me why everyone was in the match, why it was a fatal four way. I'm like, okay. And I remember watching it, and just purely for Takahashi's aesthetics, he was the one I was supporting because he looked
Oh,
like John Morrison. Um,
yeah.
yeah, it was a 16-minute match. Like there was a lot of false finishes. As great as it was, it probably didn't even need to go 16 minutes.
Yeah.
They probably could have ended that at maybe 10 to 12 minutes. But that was so well done. How much they actually choreographed that, I don't know. But if that was not choreographed at all and they did all of that on the fly, oh my God.
Yeah, man. Because like I said, like I know that Hiromu, Taichi, and El Desperado already know each other. Hiromu and Desperado like went back and forth no matter what when they were champion. And the awesome thing about El Desperado is that he pushes wrestlers to get out of their comfort zone to like challenge them, and like they turn out to have like the best matches with him. Like it's so great. Having Master Wato in there is definitely a learning experience because he's in there with three veterans, and he like just improves just greatly. Taiji is the more strategic type, the more that gets into your mind and stuff. Like it's just all good, all goodness. I love the junior division.
All right, so this has to be. Was this your match of the night? Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay.
Yeah, this was my match of the night, even my heartbreak of the night.
Yeah, I have. As much as I loved this match, I nitpicked it because I'm such a Will Ospreay fan.
Uh-huh.
But I actually, since Wrestle Kingdom, just for the podcast, I actually went back and watched the history before Forbidden Door, so I could get familiar with the build up to this. And it's just like
Yeah.
you watch Will Ospreay's, who was it? It was Best Friends from Chaos on AEW, and you just hear the music hit, and they actually didn't act like they knew who was going to wait for it. They got on the mic and go, "Oh, who's this? Oh, New Japan, here we go. Come on, bring him out." And I'm like, "Oh yeah," getting all cocky, and then you've got Will Ospreay come out. The pop was wild, and I just remember when Will Ospreay first came out, because they're having all these New Japan crossovers. And I'm like, "Come on, give us some United Empire. Give me something to
Yeah,
cheer."
yeah.
I just remember Will Ospreay coming out, and even when I watched it this week, I popped. Even though I popped the first time, I popped again. It was great, and the crowd was like, "Holy shit! Holy shit!"
Mm-hmm.
And you, I don't. Did we get Aaron Henare and Grado Khan on
Both
AEW?
of them, yeah. Aaron Henare was on there, Great Khan was on there, Jeff Cobb was on there, Aussie Open was on there. Yeah, they were all there.
Because I think it was when they made their debut. It was just Aussie Open.
Yeah, that, and then I think on Rampage, that's when you had Hinari there at one point, and also Jeff Cobb and the Great Khan.
Mm. And then
Yeah.
there's I watched the clip of Will Os Kenny Omega handing Will Ospreay the phone saying microphone saying, "All right, you want the main event? Here's the microphone. Give the crowd their respect for giving you their time," and yada yada yada. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just very, you want it here, but it wasn't as genuine. It was a very face Kenny Omega, like he was trying to make Will out to be the heel. And I think the more Kenny tried to be the face, because Will had, even though they were trying to make Will look like the heel, Will's arguments were very on point and very factual. Like you had to agree with him. Like I've been in Japan and yada 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 while you left, and then Omega's like, you were wrestling in front of 3,000 where I was wrestling in sold out crowds. Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
made it.
yeah.
And then the bit that got me, and I'm like, oh, I hate that Omega's right. I'm a Will Ospreay fan. Yes, you wrestled Okada and you lost to him. Well, guess what? So have I. But guess what? I've wrestled Okada and I beat him. And I love how
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
building Okada up to be the standard bearer of New Japan.
Yeah, he's always been there. Always, always, always. He's
But
always the golden boy. We always say that. But yeah, man, like I say that this match really didn't need a build up at all, because I was already sold on Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega and their names, because they have solidified their names respectfully as like the greatest wrestlers there is. Like, you know, they're really great. We're always talking about them in one shape or another, right? So like it didn't really, for me, it didn't need a build. What I didn't like was that getting closer to this event, Kenny was obviously playing a character while Will Ospreay is being very factual, very like humanized in his words, and really tying in everything about like why we have come to this main point. And you know, at that point, if Will Ospreay is like pouring his heart out to you, at least show some empathy and like give him a nod, and then you can continue on like your character work. But man, I was just like, I just don't like the fact that this was a clear cut and dry heel and babyface leading up to it, where Kenny Omega was. Yeah, where you could definitely see it that he was definitely the heel, and then Ospreay was the babyface. This one should have just been like a fight feel. Both of them didn't like each other. It didn't need the dynamics of babyface and heel. It was a 10 out of 10 match for me. Like I freaking loved it. It deserves its 7 stars. The storytelling was on point, even when that time in the match where Kenny drops Ospreay on his head on the exposed turnbuckle, and like everybody reacted. Everybody reacted. I reacted. I was like, yo, if I was there, I probably would have like, you know, cursed at Kenny, because Kenny, as much as you guys hear me give him shit, he really brings out that emotion that's missing from in wrestling. And like he did his job. You know, I'm supposed to get upset at my favorite wrestler getting like busted open and shit, you know?
And it's like, so how long have you been a Will Ospreay fan for? But did we fall in love with him at the same time, or was it I was with Aussie Open and then got onto the Will Ospreay hype train and then through all that?
I think for me it was when he started like United Empire, like when a little bit before he started United Empire, because you know, as I watch like New Japan, I have to like write down everything and whatnot. But like his United Empire stuff is what's really got me on him to be part of United Empire, the bandwagon and everything, and support him, because what I like is that when people mature from their days in the past of being obnoxious and stupid, and if they can like really say on like social media or like a video and say that, yeah, I've done stupid things, and they acknowledge it, and then they move on to be mature, that's what makes me be like, all right, cool, I can like you now. So yeah, it was a little bit before that, and then with Ospreay saying that he knows he's done stupid shit in the past and he grew up, so that makes me like him a little bit more. If that makes any sense.
I remember watching a match between not Rev Pro, the other British independent promotion. I can't even think what it's called.
Progress?
I think so.
Is it Progress?
Will Ospreay versus Walter.
People like to throw that one around too.
Oh, that was painful. I think any Walter match is painful though. But I think the one bit that really got to me, and I don't know if it's go away heat or if he's just that good at his job, was Don Callis.
Oh yeah, I can see. I can understand why, man. He's a hit or miss, depending on what it is.
See, I tolerated him in Impact as a commentator. Like, he was fine. He wasn't my favorite commentator in the world, but it was like, yeah, okay, I can. He's good at it. But then he just, when he went to AEW, it's like, oh, it's Don Callis. He's from Impact, and they advertise him as being an Impact EVP commentator. Then he left Impact and just became Kenny Omega's shadow. Where Kenny goes, he goes. I get his character, like he's explained his character well, and it's been 30 years in the making, and it's been with Kenny Omega's uncle or whatever he was saying.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you don't see him out of character. Even when he was on the Chris Van Vliet podcast and the Sean Ross Sapp podcast, you just didn't see him out of character. And that's what I like about, especially when Chris does it, he gets you out of character, and it's just so much fun to get to know people out of character. Because then once I go back into character, I can just fall back in with that. And it's like the whole, what you were saying with Will Ospreay, is I was always a Will Ospreay fan. And then I remember watching Will on the Chris Van Vliet podcast. And as you said, he's admitted on there he's done some stupid shit and dumb shit, and he's owned up to it. He's talked about how some people misinterpret what he says because he has dyslexia or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, I just remember he posted a one of his new pairs of shoes online or whatever it was, and I'm just like, oh my god, they're amazing. Where did you get them from? And he actually responded, and I just went like, oh my god. Like, to me, he's a megastar. He did not have to take the time of day out to respond to a fan, and like, it was just so humble and genuine. It had completely out of character, and I'm just like, the fact that he broke character for me was just so beautiful. God, I'm gonna tear up in a minute.
Oh man.
Let's go back to those brutal. It was a brutal match. Like, it was almost like Will dominated that. Not Will. Kenny dominated that whole match. Like, Will, every time Will got some offense in, Kenny just shut it down straight away.
Yeah.
Kenny did not.
That's
need
basically.
Or
he didn't need.
They were gonna have Kenny win it. They did not need to put the title on the line. And as the commentators said, the title did not need to be on the line. It just, the title didn't need to be on the line. There was just enough animosity between them that the match made sense. It just so happens that Will happened to be the champion at the time.
Yeah.
But I could definitely go apart too. I think the biggest thing is, like, I can get why they do it, but like, no one's kicked out of the one winged angel except for, I believe, Kota Ibushi.
Yeah.
That was the perfect match to have Will kick out of the one winged angel.
It would have been, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't know the backstage inner workings of this one, but yeah, you're definitely right that, like, Kenny was made to be the veteran, even though Ospreay can definitely probably wrestle circles around Kenny if this wasn't like a championship title for it. But it is gonna be what it is. Like, my whole thing is that Ospreay has busted his ass for the last 4 years and carried the company through a pandemic along with everyone else. And here comes Kenny coming in being like, I'm going to take that title from you. And they give him the title. And I'm like, why would you do that? I don't know if I want a second match. Like, obviously, I would like to see a second match because I like seeing them wrestle. But in terms of story-wise, I was saying this, like, why does Ospreay have to chase Kenny when it doesn't make any sense? Kenny just came in, took the belt from you. Like, what other story can we tell other than he wants revenge? Like, there should be something else, another layer to it. Well, I think that this might be setting okay, so what do you have?
So
what other layer?
He's lost the title, and it was, as I said, almost in brutal fashion. Because at the end of it, Will was just soaked in blood. Kenny looked fine, like a little bit of an ice pack on the shoulder, and that was it. So the story's there that if you want to tell it, say you lead up to Forbidden Door, Will chases Kenny to get the title back, but also to prove to Kenny and himself and the fans around the world that he is good enough to do it, that he's good enough to beat Kenny, that he's not just going to get destroyed, that he can hold his own and actually win. And then maybe he could, say, put on 5-10 kilos, whatever it might be, to say, oh, I'm building myself up to get fitter for Kenny because obviously I wasn't good enough last time. And then maybe that's where you have him kick out of the one winged angel.
That too, and Ospreay will probably need to change up his wrestling style if he wants to get into the mind of like Kenny and really like take one out from him. But that was the whole reason why this match was here in the first place, for Ospreay to prove to Kenny that Ospreay is no longer the boy that Kenny Omega sees him at. Because I'm here like Ospreay has really matured and really advanced and elevated the United States division of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, he's done all this stuff, and it's like, I feel deflated after knowing that he lost the damn title, because it's like, what's next? That age-old question in wrestling where people are like, oh, what's going to happen the next day? It's another part-timer coming into the company that like is getting a belt. I think I'm just like deflated with this.
And I mean, you really reckon we're going to see it on AEW, or do you reckon it's not going to get shown on AEW?
Apparently, not Osprey. Omega wants to have like open challenges for the belt and like face Shingo. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's what Moxley was doing, wasn't he, when he was the US champion?
Yeah.
I find it interesting that Japan has a United States championship over in Japan.
It's meant for like, the foreigners and gaijin to do something. That's how I look at it. I mean, to go back with the Intercontinental Championship for New Japan, MVP was the first ever holder of it. So,
Okay, so tell me if you agree with me on this or not. This should have been the main event.
Yeah, it should have been.
I mean, you can't follow that up. And I mean, the main event, which did happen to follow this, was Okada and Jay White. And they didn't follow it up. It wasn't as good.
That's because it is a Okada match, and this is a classic way to wrestle and to tell a story. So this one was a little bit different. I really don't see Okada ever getting like extreme. I really don't. But this was more of the let's pay tribute to like what Inoki is, because that's how they played it out. And usually I say that when someone's wrestling Okada, you got to wrestle his style. Jay's already used to it. This had a very nice story to it, but I had to rewatch it again to like really go in depth to be like, this is the story overall. But yeah, it didn't follow it. It didn't need to, but I was still excited and hyped to watch it. I was like, all right, Ospreay lost his title. I need Jay to keep his title. And no, fucking Jay lost his title.
Although, in saying that, I'm also not surprised because of what I learnt was Okada's WrestleKingdom record.
Oh.
Yeah, he has a really almost undefeated record at WrestleKingdom.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Like, so if we go to WrestleKingdom 16 and go to the results, he was in the main event where he defeated Shingo for the heavyweight championship.
Yeah.
So same match, different opponent, same title, main event, night one. So you go back to 15. Have we ever had Jericho versus Okada at Wrestle Kingdom?
No, because Kenny and Jericho fought at Wrestle Kingdom as a Paymaker. So Paymaker versus Omega, but I don't think we never got Paymaker versus Okada. Or even Jericho versus Okada.
All right, so you've got Wrestle Kingdom 15 was Okada and Ospreay, and Okada won that match. 35 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been a while since because he had those 3 matches against Omega, didn't he?
Yeah, but that was like not Wrestle Kingdom pay-per-views. Not, I mean, maybe they might have been, but like I know like at least 1 or 2 of them were like their other pay-per-views, but I don't know off the top of my head. But that's a very interesting stat that Okada has a record for winning, the most Wrestle Kingdoms. But then again, he is their golden boy, he is their golden boy.
Well, then what was it? Wrestle Kingdom 14? I think we're at. Yeah, Wrestle Kingdom 14 was night 1 main event. Okada defeated Kota Ibushi for the heavyweight championship. And then he went on to night 2 and lost to Tetsuya Naito. So that is the last time he lost Wrestle.
Yeah, at a Wrestle Kingdom.
So he's lost what, 1 in 4?
I guess so. I mean, like I said, Okada's that golden boy. I just wish that, Jay would have had a little bit longer because I still want um Jay versus like Tama eventually so Tama could get the belt. Or I think it was like me and you fantasy booking, or I was fantasy booking with somebody else that basically we want Jay versus Osprey versus Tama, I believe. I think that's what we came up with. Either it was me or you, or like me and somebody else that
I
had
wouldn't be
mentioned
surprised
that.
if it was us too, because we do a lot of fantasy booking, but if I forgot
Yes.
about that, that sounds amazing. So,
Yeah, like I want a triple threat.
Wrestle Kingdom 13. So we're going to way, way back now. The main event, Tanahashi defeated Omega.
Yeah,
Naito,
that was yeah.
Naito defeated Jericho for the Intercontinental. And then the match before that, Jay White defeated Okada.
Yep.
So they're 1-1 at Wrestle Kingdom. So maybe you get match 3 next year.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I'm just here for the ride for New Japan or whatever they decide. But yeah, New Japan definitely deflated me with Osprey losing, and then with Jay losing, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. Did you notice how um when Osprey came out, he was surrounded by the United Empire?
Yeah, they always do
Inconspicuous
that.
by their absence was Aussie Open.
Yeah, because they're home and recovering, so they didn't really fly over to Wrestle Kingdom.
Right.
That's the only reason why they weren't there.
So we're both in agreement. Match of the night should have been the main event, and that was Omega
Yeah,
versus Osprey. I
yeah.
mean, was
Even
it
though I
not the main
understand
event
why.
because it wasn't the heavyweight championship, or was it not the main event because it wasn't Okada?
I just think it's that. It wasn't a main event because it's not Okada and it's
Mm.
not the heavyweight championship title, you know. I understand why it was like the one before the main event. I get it, but it really should have been the main event.
So I know you were saying that the whole reason it wasn't as good as the Omega matches because Okada doesn't go extreme. But as Omega was saying to Osprey, is
Hmm.
yes, you've had all these 5-star matches, but nobody remembers any of them. But yeah, I've had all these 5-star matches, and everyone talks about them being the best matches of all time, which were the ones with Okada. So if Okada can have 5-star matches, surely he can have them without Omega in a normal match. Do you need to go extreme to have a 5-star match?
No, you don't, but I'm always a believer of like whatever the story calls for, you probably go and do it in a very safe way. If the story doesn't call for like extreme stuff like tables, ladders, chairs, then you don't really need it, right? It doesn't really add anything to it. But in the case of Osprey and Omega, because it felt like a fight feel, like an actual real
Yeah,
fight that you want to beat the shit out of him, that's why you needed it. With Okada doesn't necessarily get to a point where you can see his anger and
mm.
like he's gonna throw something at you. He's always like cool, calm, and collective up to a certain point, and then you could feel in the match he's like, "All right, dude, slow it down or whatever." But Okada is a very traditional wrestler, and he's always gonna keep it Okada style. That I'm gonna coin the phrase of Okada style. He's always gonna keep it that way, where it's very old school, very classic. That's why him and Jay put on some really good matches, but people don't sit down to like really look at the Kenny, and all of them were classic matches that didn't really need weapons. They all
Yeah.
told a story. Because again, you're fighting Okada's style when you're with Okada. You're not really doing too much of your own thing. You're doing what Okada says.
So overall, how did you find Wrestle Kingdom? Did it live up to the hype, or were you let down by it?
It lived up to the hype. I gave it a 9 out of 10 for the whole entire card. I just have a couple of gripes here and there, but most of the time, like it's a really good card to introduce somebody, someone new to New Japan. Like I really did enjoy the card.
Yeah. See, I was very similar to you. I gave it a 8.5.
Yeah.
I reckon so. Night 2 is January 21st, which is about 12 days away, so just under 2 weeks.
Yeah. The whole entire card for that, like I said, it's LIJ versus the guys at Congo. So
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm like, there's a lot of names on there I don't recognize. So you've got, what is
and
it?
I
You're gonna have to help me with
I don't even
pronunciations and clubs here.
I nope, not this time, man.
Fu-
Because I'm probably not gonna know how to do it.
Fujita,
Who? I
Kosei
don't even have the
Fujita.
thing.
So
Oh
Congo is
yeah,
that faction?
yes, Congo is a faction over in Pro Wrestling Noah. They're always feuding with like Keiji Muto and shit. Like it's weird.
I'm gonna have to look them up because I'm not familiar with it because it's uh Fujita and Ryohei Oiwa. They're taking on Ozawa and Yasutaka Yano.
I don't even know, dude. I don't know too much about Pro Wrestling Noah at this point, so I can't really help you with pronouncing the names and stuff. So yeah, this one I'm probably not going to like review for
So
night
we've got
two.
we've got Tomohiro Ishii, and he's with Oscar Lube or Lube, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, Oscar's new.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not familiar with those names. That's just a pre-show. But then there's you said it was all gonna be
That's what it looks like. The card when on Twitter, it looks like it's just gonna be LIJ versus Congo
all right. So
in like singles matches.
who's Tanahashi with?
He's in there. I have no idea. I don't even have
Because
the
it's
card up.
Hiroshi
Um,
Tanahashi, Takashi
uh-huh.
Sugiura, and Toru Yano, and Satoshi Kojima.
Oh, who is that? That other guy. Hold on.
And they're
Um,
taking on Bullet Club. So
oh, they're taking on Bullet Club?
Takashi Sugiura is from Noah. I know that much.
Okay, so then does he look like a young boy? Like a young kid? I'm trying to look up at the
Depending on your definition of young. I've got his
oh,
wiki up. He's
oh, so hold on, wait.
he's been in AJPW that I have no knowledge of. But his ring name at the moment is Takashi Sugiura. His other ring name he used to go by was Santa Claus.
Okay, I see. I have it here. So oh yeah. So where's that guy? Yeah, Takashi Suguria. He man, he probably has a really good history in Noah, but I don't even know. I can't even
So
help you out with that. And
that
then Bullet Club is getting Marufuji on their side.
yeah, so
Oh man,
Phantasmo,
that's
Kenta, Gato, and
ooh
Marufuji. I'm so cheering for Bullet Club in that. I'm Kenta all the way.
yeah,
I'm a big
that's
Kenta fan.
interesting.
And then El Desperado versus Yohei. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming we're going to be Team New Japan in this one. So if it's solely New Japan versus Noah, we're Team New Japan.
I don't really have a stake in this one. Yeah, I'll probably just watch it just to watch it, but I can't really give people, a much needed review for it because I don't keep up with Noah like that.
Mm.
I used to back in the day.
Well, you've got Master Wato, Ryosuke Taguchi, and Tiger Mask. So
Yeah, I
that's
think I passed. Yeah,
interesting. And they're taking
yeah,
on Alejandra, Junta Miyawake, and Amakusa.
yeah.
I think I'm getting the pronunciations right. I've been to Japan twice. Not that I know it. And then is this? I'm looking at them like, are these all singles or are they mixed tags? So you've got
uh, ba- tags.
okay. So you can help me with the pronunciation of this one because I've heard two different pronunciations of it. Is it? Kazuchika or Kazuchika?
You're asking the wrong person because I still can't pronounce that damn name. All that. Why do you think I call him Okada 24/7? Because I can't. I'm just like, huh? Who named you that? Even though that I think that's his last, and I think that's his first name, whatever it is. I'm like, yo, how they come up with that name for you?
And he's teaming with Togi Makabe and Kaito Kiyomiya and Yoshiki Inamura.
Yeah.
And then you've got Bushi versus Tadasuke.
I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Because I'm getting the accent
Yeah.
with it as well. I'm impressed with my pronunciations. This is
You're
a
doing very
big
wonderful.
card.
Yeah, it is.
For those that aren't familiar with New Japan, that are only just getting into it and have no knowledge of Noah outside of Shinsuke. Is it Shinsuke or Shinsuke?
It's supposed to be Shinsuke, but for some reason we say Shinsuke. I don't know. It's mad weird. Because I was even looking at it and I'm like, I think we're pronouncing it wrong, guys, for years. But he never corrected anybody, so we call him Shinsuke.
And then you've got, yeah, so you don't have people familiar with Noah like us two, but we're semi-familiar with New Japan. As promoters, how do you promote something that's meant to be the biggest night of the year as the biggest night of the year? This should.
I just think that. What? Go ahead.
So to me personally, this should not have been like do it as a separate card, but this should not have been a Wrestle Kingdom.
I know, but the one thing about like New Japan is that like they'll give us the American fans that support them what we want, right? So they'll have a event for us, but then they will have another event just for the Japanese crowd. If you know about Noah, that's awesome. If you know about everybody else, that's awesome. You'll have a great time. Even if you don't, you'll still have a great time just watching wrestling. But this one is specifically for the Japanese crowd, like it's specifically for Japan. Because it's not really for us unless you follow like both of these things. It's the same thing last year when they had New Japan X Noah. It's the same thing. That really wasn't for us per se. It was for the Japanese crowds. Well, so I totally understand where you're coming from.
That's what they should have done. They should have had that New Japan X Noah pay-per-view rather than doing a Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, but
it's your biggest of the year. It's like So yeah, you've got Bushi Tadasuke, Hajime Ohara versus Hiromu Takahashi, Sanada, which I know you're familiar with somewhat.
Yeah.
Versus
Sanada.
Manabu Soya. Who did Shinsuke face? Great Muda. Surprised he's not in here. Actually, the one thing I'm familiar with Noah is it's where Eddie Edwards came from.
Yep.
Because when he was a part of Honor No More, he was identifying as pro wrestler, like sort of how people use that pronouns of he, her, they, them, and all that. Oh, I'm not an Impact star. I'm a Noah star. I'm like, wow. All right, so you've got Shingo Takagi, Katsuhiko Nakajima, where that first name's hard to pronounce, and then Tetsuya Naito. Yeah, see, I've been saying Tetsuya, but it's Tetsuya, I think.
It's Tetsuya Naito. Tetsuya.
Yeah. And then versus Kino. So that's a interesting call. I'm curious as to how they set that match up based on that altercation. And how they
worked out what they came up with.
Or is it meant to be like a best of series?
Nah, I just think it was like the people from Congo came in and like said what they got to say, and then bam, New Japan was like, "Yeah, we're gonna make this,"
So, did you keep up with the? Totally off topic here. The TV championship, which Zack Sabre Jr. won. Did you keep up with the tournament that led to that final?
I believe so, here and there. I think once my favorite guys got knocked out, I was just like, "What's the point?"
I'm looking at it now. the tournament, and I'm just like, there would have been some really good matches on this. Like for
Yeah,
instance,
they had really good matches. It's just like I said, once my buddies like got knocked out, I was like, what's the point?
yeah, like Alex Zane versus Zack Sabre Jr.,
That was a good one.
Aaron Henare versus Evil.
Yeah, man.
Tell me about Evil. I'm not familiar with him.
Evil is evil. He's the leader of House of Torture, also in Bullet Club. Likes to give Jay White shit, or used to give Jay White shit. He was originally from LIJ. He had this whole like Reaper thing going on, and then he changed to like what he is now, and he cheats all over the fucking place.
So typical Bullet Club.
Yes, typical Bullet Club.
It's Bullet Club's known for their factions within factions, which you just can't keep up with Bullet Club because you've got the Elite, you've got the Super Click, you've got the Hung Box, you've got what's the other one? You've got the Mega Hung. Just like, oh my god.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think about those two. Yeah, I could see that. Yep. But this is why I'm here to help with Bullet Club stuff, because yeah, it could get crazy.
It's like, and what is with the sexual innuendos in Bullet Club? Is it an elite thing?
I don't know, man. It's just guys being guys. It's El Phantasmo liking to twist nipples and back rake people, and
I
like I don't know,
saw
man.
I
I don't
saw that
know.
in the pre-show. He eliminated someone by twisting their nipples.
He Unfortunately he eliminated Hinare, but I basically told Hinare that we got to work on a plan, and I told him the plan for next time. So hopefully he uses it.
All right, so we always like to fantasy book between you and I. So Wrestle Kingdom next year, what's the dream match? Is it something you want to see a round two or round three of? Is it some match that hasn't happened? Are we coming up with a new
So early,
triple threat?
so earlier with that triple threat match, I really do want to see like Osprey versus Jay White versus Tama as like a dream match for like a Wrestle Kingdom event. It doesn't even have to be with a title on the line. I just want to see them go at it.
I want to throw Omega into that as much gripe as I call him the most overrated wrestler in the world. Like he don't get me wrong, he's still an excellent wrestler and as much as I probably hate to admit it, one of the best bout machines. I just think he
Yeah,
gets given a lot more hype than he's worth. But I still think you add Omega into that match just purely for the storytelling, the history,
yeah,
and that way. Like the one thing I have with like triple threats and like say fatal four ways, it's never a true fatal four way. Like if you say playing a wrestling game, for instance, you've got all four characters going at it at the same time. Where in a real life fatal four way, you've got two people going at it, and then suddenly someone gets knocked down with a
yeah,
finisher,
yeah,
pinned. The third person jumps in, breaks up the pin. That first person rolls out of the ring. Now you've got the next two people going at it and then same thing, and it just rotates of what combinations of people you want to have till you get the build up of the finish, throw someone out of the ring, jump on, get the pinfall. It's never four people
yeah,
going at it at the same time.
yeah. I wouldn't mind. It'll still be a nice thing. Um, but yeah, I gotta eat soon, just so you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh, I'm about to wrap this up, but no, I'm glad you're able to come on with me. I'm glad I have someone that knows New Japan because when it comes to New Japan, I'm just a lost puppy. And
Yeah, no worries, man.
I really do appreciate your time. It's we I don't know what it is. Whenever we start talking, like I'm looking at the time now, we've been recording this one for an hour and a half plus the 10 minutes.
Yeah,
And then
minutes. Yep.
before we started recording, there was all the fool around trying to get Zoom to work and then getting Skype to work. We always have a habit where it's like we go and say for 45 minutes and we're always talking for hours. Like I think the last time we spoke, I jumped onto one
Oh,
of your things at 10 o'clock in the morning, which was just for you like 7 o'clock at night. we were going till 3 in the afternoon, and that was while I think NXT was on, or Monday Night Raw or something. That was just
Yeah.
because you were doing your birthday of your
A Twitter
podcast show,
space.
and it just the biggest tangent ever. We went on for hours on end. I think
Yeah.
that's why we get along. We just love our wrestling. We love our Osprey.
Yeah, definitely. But I always like learning about like, new cultures, any type of like slang or like weird things that you guys have that we don't have, because I don't really get the chance to like travel like that like other people, so I can't really experience that. So like, if I can always clear up something that you don't understand about like American culture, even though we're all fucking crazy down here, I could tell you what that is. And then the same for you. You could be like, oh, we do this in Australia like all the time. And I'm like, oh, interesting. I just love fucking learning, whether it's about wrestling, other people's cultures, and just
Oh
like
yeah,
being freaking friends.
yeah. And it's like we just get along, and it's like we're nice. We don't jump on everyone for if someone makes a bad take or whatever it is. We don't jump on them and tell them they're idiots or whatever it is. Like, yeah, whatever. If it's like we
Hmm.
don't have something nice to say, we just don't say anything.
Yeah, unless it's like needed, if like they're really pushy and they're really being rude
Yeah,
and disrespectful, then yeah. But other times, like I just keep it scrolling now. I'm just like, it's not worth it.
exactly.
Like,
It's
okay, cool, you got a bad take. That's great, but like I don't care.
yeah. But no, I'm definitely Wrestle Kingdom next year. We'll definitely do it. Even we might even start doing junior tag leagues in whatever it might be, because I'm enjoying this Japan stuff and I enjoy talking to you. So the more I can talk to you on podcasts, I'm all for it. If we can
Of
make the
course,
time
man.
zones work.
Yeah, man. That's the only thing. It's you and Robbie Eagles that like, trying to get the right time and shit.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me and Marie. It's been a blast. Stay tuned. We'll be back when we're back. Marie, go ahead and plug yourself.
All right, guys. This was absolutely fantastic. Show Aussie Lucian some love as well as me. You can find me on Twitter at Marie_shadows. In there, I have a URL to a link tree with all of my stuff because, yes, I am now an Amazon author. You could get my wrestling planner over at Amazon, where it has a 12-month calendar, 2 notes section. You could be your own Uncle Dave and give your own star ratings to any of the matches you watch throughout 2022. And at the end, you could definitely give whatever awards you want to your favorite wrestlers, podcasters, live streams, basically anything in wrestling. Head over to Amazon to go pick up your own copy. It has been a real hit, and I appreciate everyone that has got a copy. Um, uh, Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Marie_shadows. This Tuesday, we will be watching some wrestling matches, so make sure to tune in for that. As far as time goes, follow on Twitter to know when that happens. And last but not least, I have my wrestling newsletter with more info, more content coming to that newsletter and everywhere else. So marieshadows.substack.com.
Definitely go check Marie out on Twitch. I promise you it's a fun time. You won't regret it. I joined the rooms, and on the rare chance that we make the time zones work, I think there's a couple of times you've actually started twitching at like 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. I'm like, I'm awake, I'll join, or I'm just going to bed because I'm nocturnal. So
Yeah.
instead of going to bed, I'll sit there on Twitch and just watch it and tweet at the same time. And then I'll go to bed at 8 a.m. But no, definitely go check it out. It's always a fun conversation. The group chat gets wild in there. It's great fun.
They do.
No, thanks for coming on,
Yeah.
guys. Keep in touch with me on Twitter. Joining the conversation. If you want to see more videos like this, just let me know. We'll try and work something out. I don't know when the next one's gonna happen. I'm not as consistent as I used to be, but that's the aim. I eventually plan on getting back up there. Again, thanks guys. Follow Marie, follow me, go check us out, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.